Hi guys, good to see you again. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all keeping well. Well, since my video from Sunday of that beautiful pinky purple New Forest heather, and the fact that, as I mentioned in the video, I was bracketing or using 3 exposures. I ended up using 2 incidentally, I'll show you in a minute. I've had a few questions come in about how you go about putting them bracketed images together. I mean, I use Lightroom in the photo merge. So I ended up using 2 images. I know I said I bracketed for the foreground, the midground and the sky, but when I got back, I managed to get away with just using, because I think I was at f13, I think I was at, because I wanted to get a sun star. I was at f13, so obviously my foreground and midground were pretty much all in focus and all nice and sharp. So I ended up just using the bracketed sky image and then a second exposure of the heather and the midground. So I used Lightroom to put them 2 together. So I've got it all set up. I've got the 2 images that I've used here. We'll dive into Lightroom and I'll show you how I went about compiling the 2 images to make them a nice frame. Right, so I've got the images loaded up here. Like I said earlier, I actually ended up using just 2 bracketed images, one for the sky, one for all the heather and the midground really. So anyway, 7550 it was, so let's highlight that one. And as you can see there, obviously underexposed the shot just to get the sky detail in, and then obviously this one here overexposed the sky, got the detail of the heather in. So let's highlight them 2, import, come on Lightroom, there we are. So I'm just going to hold the shift key down, highlight them both, into photo, photo merge and HDR. Now settings wise, there we are, it's merged it already, it's that quick. Gone are the days of, I used to drag layer after layer into Photoshop, try and match it up and get it right. And Lightroom sorted all that out for me now, so I've only just learnt this so just thought I'd share it with you guys. But anyway, I leave everything on auto, auto align, auto settings, leave deghost amount on none. And so there we are, that's roughly what it's going to look like. So let's hit merge. And now while it's merging, basically bracketing, I can't remember if I don't think I explained it on Sunday. Basically, you change the exposure by changing your shutter speed. So obviously for the dark sky, I would put the shutter speed too fast for the foreground exposure, but bringing the levels down to get the sky right, the exposure right for the sky. And then I think I said I did 3 brackets on Sunday. Then I would adjust the shutter speed to the correct exposure, and then obviously adjust the shutter speed again, too slow if you like, to overexpose the sky and slightly overexpose the foreground. In the end, I didn't end up using that 3rd bracketed image in the end because I got away with using 2. Anyway, so yeah, when you're bracketing, just use your shutter speed to alter the exposure levels. But here we are, look, so it's merged it there. So let's click on that. So that's all I'm going to do in Lightroom, just use the photo merge and that's it. So I'm going to right click on the image, edit in Photoshop, so edit in Photoshop. So that's going to now create that. It'll flatten that and bring it over into Photoshop as one layered image. Here it comes, obviously still in RAW, but it's just a single layer now. That's it, so that's the photo merging done. Sending it across, exporting it across to Photoshop, jobs are good, and so here we are. So now we can start working on it. So yeah, I know I cropped quite a lot of the sky out because whether it was in portrait orientation, I had a lot of sky in. So let's just go into crop. I've got no constraints set, so I'm just going to do it manually. So I think I took all that. As you can see there, there's a contrail from an aircraft, so I took all that out, I think, down to roughly just about there, I think. And I did just bring the base up a little bit, just to get rid of a few of them dead bells. I timed it about, well, a bit late really, because a bit of the heather's already dying off, but let's just bring a little bit more of the sky out. So it's about there, I think I did. So I wish I'd recorded it on Sunday, never mind. So we'll double click that. So it has one layer. So first off, I'm going to go into my spot healing brush. So we'll click on that because there's a few spots from the lens flare look. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So that's all right. Let's have a look at that. That's okay. I think there was a lens flare down here as well. So I'm just going to alter that brush because it's at 100%. So that's better. I'm actually going to just a bit soft before. No, that's too soft. So let's just take that up to about 80%, something like that. That's better. That's okay. I'm going to rush through this. Obviously, I'm not going to take me time. And there was a little bit of lens flare there. Look, so no, that's okay. You get the idea anyway. So you can just touch it up with a bit of spot healing. And I think, yeah, I did take that out as well. So let's just dab that out. That's okay. So that's that done. Let's go out a bit. Right. So I want to try and bring the sun back now. So Shift Command A brings up camera raw. I love camera raw, it's brilliant now, especially with the texture tool in there now. I can never say texture tool. So there we are. So I'm just going to work on the highlights first and try and bring that sun back a bit. There we go, bringing the sun back. Obviously it's affecting the rest of the image, but we can sort that out in a bit. So, and it's brought some nice rays out as well. So let's just have a look at the whites. Whites isn't really affecting anything, so we'll leave it at that. Right, so that's that done. Now then, for some odd reason, I've got some sort of haziness going on around the tree that I chose to put in the mid-ground. See this haziness here? So for a start, I'm just going to use the burn tool at about 60%. I'm just going to try and burn in, let's just take that up a little bit to about 80%. Just going to try and burn in a bit of that haziness. Not going to overdo it because the burn tool's a bit harsh. I'm going to go into luminosity masking in a minute. So let's just leave it at that a bit. Right, so that's done the worst of it, but it's still quite hideous, to be honest. So I'm going to go back into Lumenzia. Now, I covered Lumenzia in a recent editing video. Basically, it's a plugin for luminosity masking, and it works in light tones, mid tones, and dark tones. So it's a brilliant tool. You can work on specific tones only, which I'll show you in a minute. So because this is sort of darkish tones, let's go to D3 and have a look at D3. Right. So it's created a mask. I'm going to go to D4 actually. That's better. So anything that's white will be affected by the brush. So we'll leave it at that. I'm going to hit dodge and burn. I'm going to turn my palette to black. There we go, it's at black. And now I'm just going to zoom in a bit. And then let's just see how we get on with this. That's it. It's just going to darken them areas a bit. Just the white fluffy areas. Well, the old laptop's struggling because I'm doing a screen record. So let's have a look at that. Let's just go in a bit. I'm just going to take the opacity up a bit more and just work right on the edge there. And that's better. Let's have a look at that. That's looking loads better now. What I am going to do is just make my brush a bit bigger. I'm just going to take the opacity down again. There's still a little bit of haziness there, and just touch it in like that. Loads better. I did spend a bit more time on it on Sunday, but that's good enough for now, just to show you how the luminosity masking works. Right, so while I've got the dark palette selected, I'm just going to probably take that down to about 40%, make my brush bigger with the square brackets, and then I'm just going to bring them clouds in a bit. You can do that all on the same mask, you see, so it's ideal. So it's just brought them dark clouds in a little bit, and we'll just go over the horizon a bit as well. Obviously it's darkened the deeper rays off in the sun, so that's ideal. That's nice, that. So we'll just show you what I've done so far. So there we are, look, you can see the difference. Spot on that. So job's a good one. Right, while I'm in Lumenzia, I'm going to just work on some of these tones on the bracken, just to make the bracken pop a little bit more, because this, to try and make the sun's rays shine through the bracken leaves and onto those heather leaves just a tad more. So I'm going to go back into luminosity mask. This time I'm going to go to L2. And again, it's the white areas that's going to get affected. So as you can see, there's not a lot of white areas there. So that's brilliant. That's all I want to alter. Just want to bring them out a little bit. So into dodge and burn. We'll change the palette to white this time. There we go. So we'll swap that over to white. Come on. It's always the same when I'm screen recording. Right, here we go. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to leave the opacity at 40% and just brush over the tops of the heather, anywhere where there's the sun's shining through. Let's just make that a bit smaller. So we'll concentrate on the heather for now. I might, because I'm going further afield now, I might just go up to 70%. Just make that brush smaller and just give this heather a little bit of pop look. Just looks like the sun's just shining through it a little bit better. It actually was like that on the day, you know. Just giving this. Oh, incidentally, I think, obviously I went to photograph the bell heather, but I think this smaller heather with the smaller flowers is called ling heather. Let me know, because we weren't sure. We think that's what it was. Jilly thought it was that. So let's just work these a bit. I'm just going to go over some of this bracken look that was in the distance. I'm only doing this willy-nilly at the minute. So let's leave it at 74%. Let's just zoom in a bit and we'll just work on this bracken a bit. So we're just going to make it just make the tones a bit brighter, you know. There we are. It's just bringing that out nicely, and I'll show you in a minute on the layers. I'll turn the layer off, and you'll see the difference. So it doesn't look like you're hardly affecting it at the minute, but it just gives all this bracken just a little bit of pop. The areas where the sun was shining through, some leaves more than others, you know. And obviously there's a bit of autumnal colour coming now as well. So. Some of the bracken is actually changing, which is nice. It's giving some nice brown tones like just there. Anyway, you get the idea. So we'll just go over the headland there. Look where the sun was definitely shining through that heather. A little bit there. We'll just do a little bit more on some of this heather. Right, so that'll do us. So we'll zoom out of that and I'll show you the difference now. So go into layers. So obviously luminosity masking is all in layers. And we'll just click it off and you can just see the difference there, look. Just giving it a little bit more sunlight coming through some of the leaves, which is great. So I would save that normally, save it in the layers, but just to save time, I'm just going to flatten that and then just go back into camera raw again. So back into camera raw. Just going to try and give it a little bit of contrast now. And we'll just work down these sliders. So don't think it really needs much exposure. Contrast, we'll just give it a little bit more contrast look. It's just bringing them colours out a little bit. Deepening that sun. Highlights, don't really need to give it any highlight. Don't want to lose that sun. Shadows, don't think it needs any shadows really. Blacks might be that's a nice slider look. It's just darkening off everything again. So that's okay. Now, I love the clarity and the texture tool. Obviously, take the clarity right down. Gives it a lovely, smooth, dreamy look, but that's a bit too much. So we'll just take it down to about there, I think. Might just, obviously texture tool, look. It's a softer clarity slider basically, so we'll just give that +5. Now the dehaze is obviously another contrast tool. So obviously if we was to dehaze it, it'd make it look, you know, really hazy. So we'll just dehaze that a bit. Obviously it gives it a little bit of contrast again. And vibrance, don't think I really need any. It's plenty colourful enough really. So that's quite nice. So that's camera raw sorted. I wish I'd recorded this on Sunday. Right, I'm just going to go into levels, Command L. Just going to take the levels up a little bit, keeping my eye on that sun. Just going to, that's it, that's nice. And that's not too bad at that. Let's just have a look at hue and saturation. Let's just give it a little bit. Let's go +15. And now what I might do is just take the yellows out the sun a bit again. There we are, look. Just -20, and that is about the lot. I know what else I did. Just going back to the spot healing brush. Where is it? There was a bit of contrail in the top left somewhere, just there, look. So I just took the spot healing tool right down, just ran over the contrail. Let's just make it a bit bigger. There we go, it's gone. You'd never know it was there anyway, look. And there we are. Yep, that's not far off what I did on Sunday anyway. That's about right. Obviously I've gone a bit fast, but yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. I say, I've only just got into the HDR in Lightroom and merging. You know, I used to always, like I said earlier, pull layers and layers and layers from different bracketed exposures to make one image, and matching it up was a nightmare. It took hours. and it can now be done in literally seconds in Lightroom. So hopefully that's helped some of you out as well. So the main aim of it, I've just learnt it, so I thought I may as well do a quick video on it. And I've had a few questions obviously on how I compiled this one image from the 2 or 3 bracketed images. I say I ended up using 2, but anyway, I'm blabbering on. Hopefully that's helped you out, guys. Comment below, it's always great to hear from you, and I'll reply as soon as I can. And next plans, I'm either going to go into the New Forest again on Saturday, weather permitting. If it's, I'm hoping for sort of, I don't want heaty, hot, bright weather. I think it's going to be quite dull and overcast, which will be perfect for going out into the woodlands for 2 or 3 hours. And if there's a bit of rain, that'd be even better. But we shall see. So it's either going to be the New Forest, or I have spotted a woodland a bit further away over in Marlborough. It's got some nice, big, thick, gnarly oaks. So one of the two, but definitely be out Saturday again. Hopefully video out Sunday. And yeah, thanks ever so much for watching, guys. Take care. Catch up soon.